I'm glad to have joined in a little bit early and to listen into some of your reflections. It makes me feel like, wow, maybe I should be part of this network, and I'm sure there'll be one or two things for me to learn as well. There is some background noise because there's some construction work being done near me, so I really apologize for that. I hope that you all can hear me clearly, and I hope that this session is going to be interactive. I believe in learning and reverse learning. So basically sharing my experience with you, but also learning from you as well. I don't think that anyone is how do they say, like an island of knowledge. I don't think that one person knows it all. I think that I can share from my own life's journey with you, but then there's a lot that I can learn from you as well. I would like to start. Chago, do you mind to cancel the screen sharing? Thank you. Maybe I could put on my video, if that's fine. I would like to share this quote that I found with you. I just shared that in the comment box, and it says that having a sense of mission that reaches beyond the present defines the final step to individual and team significance. That means going beyond simply being the best, going so far that you leave a footprint. I was just looking through like what message can I just begin with to lay the foundation, and I found this quote. I was like, yeah, maybe I would share this. I want to believe that everybody is here today just because you want to be a leader with a difference, or just because you're inspired by something in your community and you don't just want to be a bystander just like everybody else. You are motivated to do something about it. It's okay if you're just doing this individually, and if you're doing this, whether you have a foundation that you run or that you're interested in running, or whether you have a business that you are running. One thing that binds us all together is just our passion and quest to make a difference. I'm not exactly sure where to start, but maybe we can make this a little bit informal. Maybe Shego, you can help me here. Would it be okay just to ask everyone to introduce themselves and just what's brought you to be part of this fellowship?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay.
We can do that. I would just mention names and then you can introduce yourself. So I will use the list in front of me.
Okay.
So we'll start from Bukola, then Blessing and Bright, then Daniel. So Bukola.
Good evening, Victoria.
Hey,
hello.
Good evening. Yes, I can hear you.
Nice seeing your face. My name is Bukola Adimula.
Nice to see you.
I work with an organization here in Ilorin, Kwara State, Push Through Consult. We deal with child sexual abuse and educating primary school students, secondary school students on sex education, appropriate sex education. So that's what we basically do in the organization.
Next.
Hello, good evening, Victoria. Nice to see you. I did something daring because of you last year. I'll share that later. Yes. My name is Blessing. I work with Technology for Social Change and Development Initiative, and our focus is on providing technological skills, especially basic digital skills for young people in underserved communities. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, next. Bright.
Hi. Good evening, Victoria. Teach funds. What we do is to make sure kids from low-income communities have quality education and are being put into consideration to make sure that they become great citizens and solution providers in the nearest future.
Daniel. Daniel. Okay, Fout. Fout.
Hello, good evening, Victoria. Good evening, house. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. I hear
Okay,
you clearly.
thank you, Victoria. Thanks for having us tonight. And I am Fuad Balogun. I'm an aspiring development practitioner, and my sphere of interest and my sphere of work is actually around goals of the SDGs, which of course is on to clean water and sanitation. And what we are doing is to work on water, sanitation, and hygiene, most especially as it's got to do with advocacy, awareness seeding, and project interventions. We are hoping to use simple awareness advocacy to actually change people's lifestyle, as it's got to do with water management, water resource usage, designation, and sanitation and hygiene. Thanks again, and I hope to learn a lot from you tonight. Thank you.
Justin.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Shegun. Good evening, Victoria. I am Justin Egagara. I am an optometrist and a co-founder of Vision Redefined Foundation, where we try to improve and empower the life of children and adults that are suffering from vision problems, and also provide access to children that are blind to skill acquisitions and formal education. Because we believe that with good vision, one can get quality life, one can learn better, and one can improve both socioeconomically and otherwise. So in our foundation, we try to go not just treating sight, but going beyond sight and improving capacity of other professionals in the eye care industry.
Thank you, Justin. Obasanjo.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Victoria. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Obasanjo Fajemirobi. I'm the founder of Days of the Young. At Days of the Young, we educate and mentor young people to become innovative and accountable leaders by providing access to quality education, leadership, development, and training, and also engaging young people in civic engagement within their community. Thank you.
Thank you, Obasanjo. Next, David. David Omata.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Omata David. I currently work for Project for.
Can you speak louder? Hello, David. Can you speak louder? Okay, let's have Tosin. Well,
thank you very. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, Dr. Shegun. Good evening, Victoria. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate. So my name is Omalito Sintabel. I'm a co-founder of Systematic Capacity Building Hub. What we do at SCB Hub is we discover lag between undergraduate efficiency in order to fit into industry. So we come in by developing skills for people and making them to discover themselves through personal development, capacity building, and bringing up new startups. So that is what we do majorly. And we also look into secondary school pupils by visiting them, creating awareness of what they're supposed to be involved with presently while they are still in secondary school before going yonder. So that's what we do majorly at SCBO. Thank you very much.
Oinda. Hi, Oinda. Oinda. Okay.
Can you hear me? I'm here. Can you hear and see me? Okay, so my name is Oinda Moladibowale. I'm the founder and team leader of Better, an organization committed to raising innovative leaders amongst teenagers. And we do this through life skills and leadership training, mentorship, and counseling. Thank you.
Thank you, Inda. Okay, so David, are you ready now? David, Umata.
Hello, sir. Hello. Can you hear me now, sir?
Sure.
Maybe David can also introduce himself in the comment section.
Yeah, I think David, you can actually type your comments.
Yes, I would see that, and that would be great.
So, John Fatoyi.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? I think I have a bad network here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Dr. Shegun. All right, Victoria, it's very nice having you here. I'm Fatoye John Oluwasegun. I'm the co-founder of Yata Scholarship Initiative. You can see the logo right there on my shirt. So what we do at Yata is to provide accessibility to basic education for indigent children in at the grassroots. We are based here in Kwara State and hoping to reach out to all indigent children in Nigeria. And then we provide extracurricular soft skills through teens classes to secondary school students. And also trying to address the quality of basic education, we host teachers conferences and all of that. So I've been following your work, my organization. You are one of the people that I tried watching and reading about to start my organization. I'm sure you won't remember us talking on LinkedIn about a year ago now, but it's a great privilege having you here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, John. Daniel and Toju, you're the only two left, I believe. Either of you can go first. Daniel and Toju. Toju, you can go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Toju Kaka. I am a writer and cryptocurrency enthusiast, and I'm the founder of an organization called Empower Me EOS. And what we want to do is bridge the digital divide and in marginalized youths and expose them to opportunities in emerging technologies like blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Thank you.
Not sure Daniel is online, but Daniel, you can post your introduction into the chat box when you are able to talk or when you are online. I'm not so sure he's online. I can see him though, but he definitely cannot hear us. So I think we're done with the introduction.
Okay, yeah, I totally understand the network issues in Nigeria, and I'm not in Nigeria right now, but even here, once in a while, the network is not that strong. Please feel free to use the comment box. I can't really see most of you, so how I know that you are following is also when you use the comment box. I just shared another quote. First of all, thank you so much for your introduction. I listened to all of you, and it's so incredible what you're all doing. Well done. I'm so honored to be here. I just shared a quote it's not from me, it's from a book that I've just recently finished. I thought that it was interesting, and as I thought about the presentation today, I thought of sharing it with you. It says that a leader's role is not just to dream, but to be an architect of the dreams that we have. After all the motivational talks, leaders have to plant their feet on the ground and get to work. They have to execute with precision. If dreaming requires optimism, audacity, and empathy, bringing our dream to life requires us to have a concrete endeavor. It demands hard work, discipline, teamwork, communication, and courage. I feel really honored to be Victoria Ibiwoye. I mean, a decade from now, I would never have dreamt that I will be where I am today. I feel humbled and I thank God for how far He has brought me. The idea to start One African Child just came as a dream, but if I never took a step to act on it, you know, I would not be able to have experienced all of the wonderful things that has happened in my life. I would not even be able to have experienced the challenges. I thank God not just for the good things that have happened in my life, the opportunities that came my way. I thank God also for the challenges. I thank God for the roadblocks that I faced in life. I thank God for the naysayers who look down on me and have said that, oh, you know, you're just wasting your time. All of the events that happened in my life encouraged and motivate me, you know, to keep pushing. All of the challenges that I faced in life, I use those challenges as a as a roadblock to, you know, get to where I am today in a nutshell. When people reach out to me, I'm not able to really help everyone who reach out to me on social media or even meet me in person, just because sometimes they're asking the wrong question. They're like, oh, Victoria, you know, you do this, you're engaged with the UN. How can I also be like that? How can I also get the same fellowship as you and be where you are? They're not asking me the right question. They're asking me the wrong question. And so I'm not able to answer them. Sometimes I get more messages on LinkedIn and I'm not able to respond to all of those messages. I don't respond to some messages on LinkedIn, not out of arrogance, not just because I'm too busy and I don't have time to respond. I probably don't respond because people are not asking me the right question. So what I hope to share with you today, or what I hope that we'll be able to talk about today, would be, you know, what do you really need to know as leaders, and also if you're looking up to some people who might have gone a little bit ahead of you, what should you be asking them? I think what would be useful is not just to ask about their dreams. Sometimes people just ask me like, Victoria, your dream is like coming to life right now. How can I also have that same dream? How can I be where you are? That's a good question, but what's more important is asking, you know, about how they bring that dream into realities. What are the concrete steps that they do in their day-to-day life? If you would ask me, like, you want a job at UNESCO, I don't have an answer for that. I don't have a job. Even I don't have a job at the UN. I would like to have a job at the UN. But if you would ask me, Victoria, how did you like get to where you are today? Or what are the day-to-day things in your life that you do that has brought you to where you are today? You know, you have an organization. How do you bring people together? These are what I consider to be right questions. So firstly, what I would like to share is just finding how to ask the right questions when you meet people that you look up to, or people that you feel would have some level of experience to share with you. And having a dream is not enough. Many of us have dreams. We all have dreams, countless and countless of dreams. Some of us have dreams that are worth billions of US dollars. But stepping up and, you know, getting to work, getting our hands dirty, hustling every day is just how you would know, you know, what your dream is worth. So I would say, you know, don't just dream, don't just have a vision. Many of you already have organizations or businesses that you're running, but constantly think of how to bring whatever vision you have alive. How can I scale? Who is already in a place that I see myself 2 years to come? and reaching out to those people and asking them the right set of questions. You know, how did you get to where you are today? What are things that you do? I have different mentors, and for all of my mentors, I reach out to them based on where I feel that they would be most useful. If I have a spiritual mentor, for example, I may reach out to my spiritual mentor and ask my spiritual mentor about, you know, how do you deal with pressure? How do you deal with imposter syndrome? Because even as leaders, even I have an imposter syndrome. There are times when I feel that I haven't achieved a lot in life, or when I feel that I'm not good enough. So just being able to talk to somebody who can lift up my spirit and make me feel that I am somebody and that I matter in this world, that really helps me. Having a spiritual mentor, asking that right question, having a mentor who can be useful to you in terms of, let's say, career choice. You're looking for a job, and right now maybe you're still in the university and you're not exactly sure how to, you know, what to do after you're done with your NYSC, you know, how to go about it. Just having somebody who works in a place that you like to see yourself work, asking the right question is something that is very, very important. Please feel free to also ask me questions along the way. There's so much to share, but within the little time that we have, I want to be sure that I'm really sharing things that will be relevant to you and not just sharing all of my life's journey and mostly stuff that you might not find useful. I want to say that the true measure of leadership can be categorized mainly into two things. So carrying people along, having a followership. If you are a leader and you don't have people that are inspired by the work you do, you don't have people that you're carrying along, there is a saying that you're just taking a walk. You're not only leading. I think Shegun already is modeling what leadership looks like by creating these opportunities for you all to learn, to network, and to scale. Secondly, the true measure of a leader is somebody who brings others to places that they've never been before. Someone who is not intimidated by seeing others succeed. I like to say that my greatest joy or fulfillment in life would be to see those that we are working to serve at One African Child, you know, get to greater heights than I'll ever be. So as many of you are leading organizations or thinking of leading organizations, always think of, you know, do I really have followers? Do I have people who are interested, who share the same vision as me and who are interested in working with me? Am I also creating opportunities to build others alongside myself? I liked during the reflection exercise when one of the speakers said, seeing this opportunity and quickly passing it on to someone because they know the value that they are getting from this network and they would like to see others get the same value, and sharing that opportunity with someone. That is the true measure of leadership. In the work that we do, is not going to be easy. It's going to be really difficult. I'm sure many of you sometimes feel like giving up. I don't think I'm exaggerating if I say that at some point in life we might have felt a little bit overwhelmed and feeling like giving up. But persistence and just being part of network like this sometimes is what makes the difference. Some of the results that we want to see may not be immediate. It might take some time. When One African Child started, I never dreamt in my life that some of the opportunities that came to me will ever come to me. And not just opportunities to travel, but also some certain opportunities like just being more involved with the UN system, being a voice in that system, sitting on the same table with decision-making leaders and having a voice at the table. I never dreamed that those opportunities would come, but if I had given up along the way with all of the pressures, especially from family, I had a lot of pressure from my parents to focus on school and not just, you know, to dive strongly into One African Child. They like that I'm making an impact, that I'm making a difference through One African Child, but they wanted me, you know, focus on school. You're going to school to study law. This is something you should focus on. As we go through our journey. We are going to face a whole lot of difficulties, but being able to persevere, whatever we are doing will be eventually rewarding. A lot of us have dreams through the work that we do. We want to keep learning and, maximizing opportunities so that we can keep giving back. It might be looking out for opportunities to participate in a global fellowship. It can be, looking out for job opportunities, looking out for grant opportunities to scale your business. And all of those opportunities might not come right now. But what I see is what we are doing right now is like sowing a seed. When you sow a seed, it's not immediately you see the seed start to germinate and to bear fruit. It's going to take some time. It's the same feeling when we're in the development space. The results that we want to see, they are not going to be immediate, but then if we persevere, if we take time, everything that we want to see will come through. I'm going to see if I have any questions for me. Okay, just somebody saying good evening. Yeah. I think there's a question, I'm not sure. Oh, just an introduction. I want you to take this space to please ask me questions. I would like for us to have a very smooth discussion, or just also share your perspectives as well. If there is something that you'd like for me to be more specific to share, I would really love to hear that. So I was talking about persevering and just staying true to who you are, but also surrounding yourself with people of substance, people who are confident, and people who have aspiration is very, very important. I like to surround myself with people who challenge me, people who intimidate me. I have friends, and when I see what they are doing, I feel somehow intimidated by it and, seeing where my friends are, but I don't take that as jealousy. I don't feel intimidated in such a way that I want to compete against them. I see what they are doing as something to challenge me in a very positive way. So there is a saying that you're an average of maybe the 5 people who you consider to be your closest friends. And that is true. So surrounding yourself with people who are very positive, people who challenge you, people who are audacious, people who are confident, that is also going to rub off on you. I don't have a huge circle of friends. My circle is so tiny. I could count the number of friends that I have. But when I think about these people, I also ask myself, how did I happen to have friends like this? Because these are people that motivate me a lot. So in our journey as well, the journey is going to be long, and the path might feel really lonely. But if you surround yourself with people who motivate you, people who challenge you, you definitely will see your life, improving and getting better. I don't know if we have questions, something more specific that you'd like to know from me. Anything that you'd like to share, or I can keep going.
Someone is raising his hand. Can you have?
Okay, yes, please.
Yeah. Also, guys, you can try to use the chat box so that we don't have an interruption. Ford, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Victoria, again for the session, and I am enjoying it. And thanks again. I would want to ask, since you've talked about the imposter syndrome, and given the fact that, of course, it's not going to be enough to ask, it's not going to be too much asking. Every time a facilitator comes, we are always so eager to actually stand on his or her shoulder to see what is ahead. So my question would be like, given the fact that you have actually seen the up and down, and at least you have gotten to a position where you can actually mentor and can say, oh, this is what obstacles I encountered while coming. How would you say an aspiring person, development practitioner like us, can actually picture the end and can find our means towards getting to that end? How can we stay focused in the midst of here and there distractions, here and there obstacles? And given the fact that we are human, it is not enough to say, oh, you have to be focused. How can we keep our head straight? What would you say are some of the key things we can actually do to keep our head straight and to get on the path? Thank you.
That's a very good question, and thanks for asking. I would say have sets of values. You don't have to, have them written down, but it also helps if you have things written down, because you can constantly refer to them, and when, in case you forget, they're always there to remind you. Have set of personal values. You know, one of my value is humility, and humility to me is not just being, you know, not having self-confidence, because some people don't have self-confidence and they think that that is humility, or, you know, feeling less than and thinking that, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to try that, and it's just like a quality of being humble. That's not humility. Humility is just, you know, to me, humility is just remembering where you come from and remembering your roots, and not forgetting that no matter how, you know, how higher and higher you up the ladder you keep climbing. So having set of values like integrity, staying true, and one of my values is also just being strongly passionate about things. I like to focus on one thing just because the wave is changing. Let's say, for example, there is more attention being paid to the health sector, and people who are coming up with projects or startups in the health sectors are getting grants. I don't just decide that I want to now focus on health or I want to focus on agriculture. My focus is on education. I'm deeply passionate about education. And when it comes to education, my story is about inclusion, because I have a personal story about my life that just talks about why I do what I do. So even so, education is so broad. When it comes to issues like girls' education, for example, I may not directly be at the forefront. That would be something for somebody else on the team to focus on. But when it comes to inclusion, that's like my story, that's my life. So as I do the things that I'm passionate about, in a way, they also reflect my values and all of that. Having values, having personal values, it's like a lifestyle. Everything that you do, you don't have to say that this is who I am. If you have to say that, you know, I'm a very humble person, for example, then you're not humble. But the way that you carry yourself, the way you relate to people, the way that you see success, winning is not a destination. Winning is a process. We keep winning every day. So if you see winning as a destination, the moment you win, you feel that you have arrived and you don't strive to keep challenging yourself. So having all of these things just constantly reminds you of who you are. There is a quote or something that I saw online one time that, have you ever heard about a Nobel Peace Prize award winner and what they made of their life after they got the Nobel Award? You know, the moment they get that award, everybody knows about them. But after many years after, we don't get to hear them anymore. So ideally, the Nobel Peace Prize award is like the ultimate of awards that you can get. But the moment you get that award and you feel that, oh, I have arrived, you would never challenge yourself to keep trying again. So having that mindset of continuous learning, that we've never feeling like you've arrived, no matter, you know, where you get in life, no matter the recognition or the accomplishments that you make. Of course, appreciate yourself for every accomplishment that we have. Sometimes we forget to do that. Sometimes we have huge dreams that even when we are making little accomplishments, we can't see them. That's what I think, having those set of values, being surrounded with positive people who can have genuine conversations with you. I used to say about a friend of mine, and I would tell her that you are my best friend, but I don't like you sometimes because you always speak the truth to me. And sometimes the truth can be bitter. So having people who can tell you the truth, especially when you don't like it, when you're losing it, can be very, very good. I, in a way, in terms of using social media, for example, I believe in using social media to inspire people and not to intimidate. And if there would be something that I would do sometimes that may look like I'm deviating from my personal, you know, ethics or mantra, like social media should be to inspire people, to tell stories that would push and inspire people, and not to make them feel intimidated by where I am, people I'm hanging out with, or my achievements in life. I have friends who can call me to order like, Victoria, that's nice, but that's really not necessary for you to post online. So being surrounded by people who can speak the truth to power to you, that can be very, very useful. But the ultimate thing will be having those set of personal values. It's what you sleep to and you remind yourself, like, who am I? What are my values? Why am I here? What is my purpose in this life? And constantly reminding yourself of those values. That's what ultimately makes all the difference. Our generation, we live in a world that is full of distraction. And also, especially when you're online, it can be intimidating, making you feel that you're not doing enough. But we somehow just have to find a balance. Also, social media is also where we go to get information, like being part of this network. But finding that balance ultimately will be very useful. Yeah, I hope I answered your question a little bit. Obasanjo, yeah, you can, you raised your hand, so please speak up.
Thank you for the question. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, so thank you for the question. I follow a few leaders who have made great strides in the sector, and most of them talk high about you very well. People like Amit Kayode, Alabi, and also Kayode Oluwaseun. They have spoken so well about you. One thing I always like
I don't know if
asking
it's
people
just
whenever I
me.
speak.
I mean, I can hear you, but your voice is a little bit.
Okay, so one thing I like asking great leaders when I meet them is about their biography. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it's about the biography. So I would like to know what motivated you to start One African Site? How did the vision come about? How was it tested? And what was the process like to you starting One African Site and taking it to come now? Or what?
I feel that that's a story that could take almost all day, but I would just like to summarize what inspired me to start. Growing up, I struggled a lot through school, and I always felt like a misfit because I did poorly academically. I lacked self-confidence. I was bullied at school. This is not a story that I often like to tell because I prefer the story of what One African Child is now doing to change that narrative. But it's, you know, part of my life. And I came to find out about dyslexia and also how much there's not a lot of awareness about some of these invisible learning disabilities in Nigeria. And just looking more broadly at our school curriculum and just not being satisfied, wanting to do something about it. Education should be the gateway to, you know, a lot of things. Education should not just be a one size, it should not just be a pathway to just finding your way through a career and then that's the end. Education should be about building identity. Education should be about finding a belonging. It should be about expression, and we should be able to express ourselves in different ways. It doesn't only have to be in the traditional standardized way of writing tests and, you know, doing formal exams. There should be different ways through which we can test our innate talents and abilities. And I wanted to do something to change that. I also sort of had a very difficult upbringing in terms of the environment where I lived. I didn't have a lot of positive role models to inspire me. Some of the people that I looked up to were getting pregnant at 15, at 16. And, you know, while I was younger, I never even thought that I would have the chance to make it through to university. I never thought that I would, you know, just have all of the opportunities that I have today. And going through school, I think it was 1 year when we had ASU strike and we were at home for 3-4 months, and I just wanted to do something. I was just tired of sitting down at home not doing anything. And so I said to myself that I will go to my immediate community because I see some kids roaming about. I will gather them together and just, you know, bring them together, just get to know what they're interested in, what motivates them, what they would like to do in the future. And this was what I did. And I posted that on social media and started getting lots of comments like, oh, this is nice. Can we join you? Can we also be part of this initiative? I never dreamt that One African Child would be an organization. One African Child is like a nickname that I always used on social media, on Twitter, most especially just for a tiny vision that I have in my head someday. I really want to see a different narrative about Africa as a continent. I think education can be that gateway to change that narrative. And then I said to myself that I don't have a lot of resources to bring this dream of mine alive, but I will start by reaching out to one child and see where that goes. So that became something big, and over the years, we keep learning. Let me say that when One African Child started, we didn't have a clear picture. So it's okay if you are right now and you don't have a clear picture, you don't have everything all put together, that is totally fine. Sometimes you can be under pressure like, oh, I want to, within 1 year, have won this grant, have all these resources, be registered, do this and that. We did not have all of these structures in place, but little by little, we were taking steps forward. We didn't get registered until 3 years after we started, for example. We didn't get our first grant until maybe 4 years after we started, and a lot of things didn't happen until much later. So it's okay where you are right now. If you feel that you don't have all of the picture clear in your mind, and it's also very important to start small. It's important that when you start small, you don't stay small, because just, this idea of I want to start something, I will start small, and, 2, 3, 4 years afterwards, if you're still in the same position, you should find something to keep challenging you to do better. Where we started, when we started, that's not where we are right now. We keep looking for, new ways to innovate, new ways to do things better. We keep looking for ways to expand our coast and bring new people in. And I know that not all of you are founders and CEOs, and that is really awesome. I don't think we all have to be founders and CEOs in this world. If you're part of an organization, I want to encourage you to continue giving your 100%. One African Child, a lot of opportunities that has been with the organization has not just been to me. I was just thinking the other day of our volunteers and opportunities that they've had. Some of our members have, gotten scholarship to participate in local and international fellowships. Some of our members have gotten jobs through referrals at One African Child. I think, if I'm not exaggerating, up to 15 of our members have been able to participate in international fellowships, just representing One African Child at different places. One thing that stands all of these people out is giving their 100%. So sometimes we think that just being founders and CEOs comes with, having opportunities. That is not necessarily true. Not everybody is called to be a founder or to be a CEO. If you are the programs coordinator of an NGO, if you are doing media and communications or whatever you're doing, just give your 100% to what cause you're passionate about. There is always room for you to grow and to expand. If you're in an organization where you feel that you're not growing, I don't think that's the right place for you. I would advise you to look for one where you can grow. But this notion that, I have to necessarily be a director, a founder and CEO may not be so true. So that's just a brief about One African Child and where we are right now. Someone asked the question, how do you deal with failure all along in your initiative? Let me first talk about personal life. I think it all comes down, anything you want to give to somebody else or to an organization, it has to be something, there's this saying that you can't give what you don't have. So if I can't learn how to deal with failure in my own personal life, it will be so difficult learning how to deal with failure on a larger scale as an organization. In my life, I've experienced, a lot of disappointments, a lot of failures, and I know some of you also have this experience as well. I think it's all about the mindset. I always tell myself that what is there to learn from this failure? If I have failed at something, I'm not always in a denial, like, oh, whatever, you know, these people, they've missed an opportunity, they don't know what they have, if they would have selected me. I'm never in a denial. I try to be rational. What did I do well? What did I not do well? What can I learn from this? Who can I learn from? I reach out to people sometimes. I find it difficult reaching out to people, but yes, I'm learning that it's important not to just be in a silo, not to be live in your own bubble, to reach out to people and to ask for help. I reach out to people and to see, you know, what am I missing? What do I need to do better that I'm not doing well right now? What am I doing that is standing in my own way of success? Because sometimes we don't even realize we have what is called a blind spot. We don't realize that there are certain things that we are doing that is preventing us from, you know, succeeding at certain things that we want in life. And if we would either stop doing those things, or things we are not doing that we need to start doing, if we would start doing those things, it can make all the difference. Once I'm able to have this type of mindset about dealing with failure in my personal life, not seeing failure as the end result about my life, seeing it as something that could prevent me from making the same mistake in the future again. Because once you fail, you learn from it. As children or as babies, we probably had to learn, you know, the hard way. Maybe we cut our hand because we weren't too careful. And as we grow older, we grow wiser. We learn not to do those mistakes that we did when we were younger. So learning from all of those things also helps me transfer my type of mindset into the organization. It's also in the same way that I motivate my team members. Maybe I could share an example with you. Some failures can also be beyond us, or how do you say? Some failures are things, honestly, that we can't control. And sometimes when they are there, we just have to acknowledge that it's not of our own doing. This is not exactly a failure within One African Child, but we had somebody who was in a leadership position, but his kind of leadership was autocratic. We run an NGO. In an NGO, when you're working with volunteers, almost, you know, 90% of people you're working with, you're not paying them for their services. There's a way that you deal with them. You can't force them to do things. Sometimes you have to constantly motivate them every single day to do things. You have to help them see the big picture. But this particular leader from the organization has a way of, if a volunteer hasn't spoken in a month or in 2 weeks or even in a week, you know, we remove them from the group without giving them any reason why they are removed, shutting people down unnecessarily, you know, being very harsh to people, making them feel terrible. Like if somebody hasn't showed up at a meeting or participated in a project or kept up to their promises, there may be 1,001 reasons why they were not able to do that. But just shutting people down, that doesn't say a lot. It doesn't say well about the organization. It also doesn't say well about the leader. So this leader also is well respected within the organization, and he left. One day he just decided to leave the organization. So in a way, I wouldn't say that is a failure, but that is something so difficult to deal with. Somebody that everybody respects, and if they would leave, a lot of people will be curious, like what is going on, what is not going well. But when that happened, that is something that in a way nobody had control over. Also, other people know that this is how this person has been behaving, and we just, you know, we just let it go. That was not something we could control. So sometimes there are certain things, difficult conversations or difficult moments that would encounter in running organization. And we, as long as we know that we are true to ourselves, as long as we are not in denial as to what we are not doing well, and we feel that we've done our best, I think there's not so much that we can do to stop certain things from happening. But just being true to yourself, eventually people will see through you. If you're a good leader, people will see through you. You don't have to come and give motivational talks all of the time before people would know that you're a leader. Being a very good leader is by what we do, not necessarily by what we say. It's about how we inspire people. It's about how we empower people. And people see that, even when you're not talking, people see through you. So when you fail sometimes, it's also okay to admit that we failed and, excuse me, it's also okay to admit that we failed and to apologize and not let our ego come in, because being in a leadership position is so tricky and it's not an easy job. We have to, we must not see it as a sense of weakness, just being able to say, I'm sorry, or I thought this project was going to go well. I know that it was my idea that we need to do things this way and things did not go well. I'm sorry it did not go well. I take full blame for that. I've learned my lesson and, you know, I hope to not to make the same mistakes next time or to listen to people more. So these are things that I feel that could help us learn better. And we don't necessarily have to keep failing to learn. What has helped me has been reading, mentorship, coaching, learning from people who have gone ahead of me. When I meet people, especially people who have gone ahead of me, I don't just ask them about the good things about their life. I ask them the difficult conversation. Some of my mentors have opened up to me about shame, about vulnerability, all of these things that are often not talked about. It's so important that we learn them. Once we can learn them, we can also work towards not making those type of mistakes in our own lives just because we already learned these things. So definitely reading more, reading books, that opens you up to a lot, and also having people who would tell you the truth about life, not just tell you the most beautiful things as it is on social media. People rarely post about what's not going well in their lives, and it's always about, you know, what's beautiful and what's going well. Yeah. Fatoye.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I don't know whether I'm the one.
Can
The
you hear me?
service, I cannot hear you well, clearly.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, Victoria,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
yes.
Now it's better.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Now. Sir, am I audible?
Yes. I think so. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, I think I hear you clearly now.
Can you hear me? Fully. I've learned
Yes.
so much, and you're someone I've been following your work. I'll just go straight to the. Okay.
The network is a little bit unstable. Do you want to use the chat box just to type your question?
Sorry, my network is very bad. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, so I just changed location. I'm sorry for the more distraction. All right, so I've been following your work for some time now, especially because I'm also working in the education space. And yeah, so I attest to some of the things you said about the opportunities your volunteers get. Someone like Daniel, your director in Kwara State, has been in Rwanda through the organization. So it's a really great privilege being with you tonight. All right, so I'll just go straight to the questions. I really wish I had a lot of time personally with you. So my first question is what were your early moves? The education space, like you said, is quite wide, and I believe you had encounters, you had different challenges at first. For example, for me, working with or trying to influence government policy sometimes, especially when it doesn't favor them, it becomes a really big, challenge. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We once visited it. Only less than 5% of the children were in school, and we got to work with them and all that. Do you understand? So and we showed them how that the for the. I'm just trying to ask here about what were your early moves as to involve the government when you have to make impact. Do you understand my question?
I do. Yes. Yeah, that's a very good question. I wouldn't say that. Sorry,
Hello?
yeah. Hello. Do you want to use the chat box to type the remainder of your question? But I think I got the most parts. What were our early moves, and yeah, how did we involve or engage the government or different stakeholders? And I was going to say, I wouldn't say that we have a very close relationship with the government. Our work is in education, so the government sector would be the Ministry of Education. We still haven't been able to build a very close relationship with the Ministry of Education in Nigeria. If we have anything to do with the ministry, it's usually like a gathering brought together by third parties like UNESCO, maybe meeting them at a conference and having to work together. But what I would say maybe stand us apart in what we do is building relationships. I personally don't joke with building relationships, and when I get to meet new people, no matter how famous or how influential they are, the first thing to me is not to take a selfie. It's important to be able to also capture those moments and be able to look back and say, I met this person, I met that person. What's important to me is to build relationships. Those people, do they know my name, and do they know the work that I'm doing, what I'm passionate about before I leave that room? So if it means that having to wait until everybody else leaves the conference room just to be able to have an audience with someone that I regard highly and I want to keep in touch with, I really don't mind doing that. So investing in relationship has really, really helped us. Sometimes in the way that UNESCO reaches out to me, or in the way they engage me, I am like surprised if they would reach out to me to recommend certain organizations that they should work with. One time, the Global Partnership for Education, GPE is like the World Bank group for education. They reached out to me and they were asking about an individual and an organization in Nigeria, whether they should partner with that person. They didn't have to come to me. I mean, who is Victoria? I'm just a very tiny little girl in Nigeria, and they come in to ask for, my perspective or my opinion on that. That really meant a lot to me. So investing in relationship is very important. When we meet people that we regard highly, even donors, relationship is more important. Once you establish a relationship, getting whatever resources you want to get, money or other type of resources, will just come in easily. But if what you focus on is, oh, this person has money to give to me, how can I get something from them? That type of whatever you're hoping to establish might not really go too far. Always place relationship first before task. You need something from people. I need something from Shegun, but I'm not just using Shegun. I can also show Shegun that I care about what you do and I want to see how best I can support you. What has also helped for me has been understanding how systems work. I have made a lot of mistakes building relationship with people. Some relationships that have developed with some people have been damaged. I don't have perfect relationship with everybody. Some relationships have been damaged, not by something terribly that I did, but just because I didn't understand the system. Sometimes the most powerful person in the room is not the president or CEO of an establishment. If you go to a conference and you meet, our president at that conference, our president of Nigeria is not the most powerful person in that room. The most powerful person in that room to them can be their personal assistant or whatnot. So sometimes I have gone through the wrong channel, just in the aim of wanting to build a stronger and better partnership. I have bypassed the most important person, and just because I bypassed that important person, whatever I'm planning or whatever I hope to get, it doesn't fall through. So understanding how systems work. I know many of us don't like bureaucracy and following protocols, but that unfortunately we don't live in a world that is like the way we want. Sometimes we have to, compromise a little bit to get what we want, and continuous learning, keep learning. Whatever comes to me, I never say no to what I don't know. Even though I'm not so good at something, I try to see, can I learn it? And if it's not something I can learn, and then I can think of, oh, this is not my thing, maybe somebody else can do it. Continuous learning has always been very, very good. When people just give you an audience, even if it's for 2 minutes, for 5 minutes, what you say within that 2 minutes can set you apart. It can open up doors to you. You can as well have, 1 hour, 2 hours to present yourself or to talk about what you do, about what your organization does. But if you don't maximize those time, if you don't say what needs to be heard during those time, it's like, it's almost like you've not said anything. So continuous learning, know your stuff, invest in whatever you're doing, and keep learning. Don't ever feel like you've arrived. No matter the accomplishment that you get, keep building yourself. The world that we live in is fast changing. The world that our parents, our grandparents lived in is a different world. So let's say, a lot of things are changing. You are in a position where people are learning how to use now connecting via Zoom, but you're like, Zoom is not my thing. I prefer physical meeting. Imagine, like, with everything going on right now, some people are being left behind. Aside from the fact that some naturally don't have access to some of these devices, those who have access but are not willing to, they have a fixed mindset, they don't have a growth mindset, those people are likely to be left behind. So keep learning how systems work. Don't be under pressure, like I have to get everything right now, but just keep learning and keep learning. The way we've been able to establish some relationships, more recently, getting grants to implement projects, getting collaboration with institutions that I would never dream possible. But when One African Child started, that did not happen. Grant making was not part of the skill, but it's something that one of us had to learn. It's something that I had to learn. It's something I'm still learning. Having those relationships also sustains the grants that we get and all of those things. It opens up doors and all that. So that's what I would say. That's what sets you apart. Just building relationship, keep learning, keep growing. Collaboration also is very important. Collaboration is the new norm. The more we collaborate, the better it is for everybody. So the fact that we have 5 people who are doing education, who are doing the same thing, doesn't mean that it has to be a survival of the fittest, or this is what One African Child is doing, that, we are doing better. When we collaborate, we go further and we reach our destination faster. So looking at collaborating with people, learning from people, that really helps. I'm not sure if my time is up. How do you influence government policies? If I can just answer this one last question. How you influence government policies? So I'm the youth representative, the UNESCO youth representative on SDG 4. It's like being the youth envoy on education. And because of this, I participate in a lot of high-level meetings on education. And while all of these opportunities are wonderful, I often get frustrated because I come to these meetings and I'm the only young person in the room, full of ministers and other important people. But after my presentation, I don't feel like I've been listened to. I feel like I'm just one young girl that they've given the podium just to speak, just to say, we try to make this process inclusive. We brought this young girl from Nigeria to speak, and that's it. I learned that a lot happens outside of the room than in the room. So building relationships also. There was a time when at one of the steering committees, all of the ministers of education had different things they were interested in. One minister doesn't want you to include sexual and reproductive health rights because in our country, we don't want children to be corrupted by thoughts that you can explore different types of sexualities. Somebody from one of those more developed countries were like, well, the world is changing, you have to step up to that. So in a nutshell, people could not agree. And then the meeting was reconvened after a tea break and everything went normal. And I approached, one of the people that I met at this conference, and he told me that a lot happens over tea break. You can literally seal a deal over a cup of coffee in 5 minutes. I was like, wow. So building those relationships, seizing those opportunities, a lot of difference can be made when you seize all of those opportunities. I remember, getting a consultancy job at one UNESCO conference that I was attending, and it was a tea break, and someone from UNESCO approached me. This is just by the side, but I'm just sharing. Someone from UNESCO approached me, we want you to be an ambassador for this. I was like, oh, that's fantastic, but at this stage of my life, I'm not really interested in traveling a lot unless I would be paid for my time. I was like, oh yeah, we can definitely arrange something. And they came to me with a proposal for how much they were going to pay me to do certain things. And when I saw the proposal, I was like, I'm sorry, in order to be able to offer you something better, you have to increase this. This is not just going to work for the things that I would do. And we were able to negotiate. So just understanding systems, how systems work, and also knowing yourself, being confident. If you are worth something but you're not confident, you can meet Barack Obama or somebody influential who has the power to change your life, but if you are not confident and being able to present yourself and your organization in the right way, if you lack the presence, that opportunity is just going to go to waste. So just building confidence is something that I had to learn. Like I told you, I still deal with imposter syndrome. I don't feel 100% confident about myself. There are times when I still doubt myself, but it's something that I work on every day. So in our journey, in striving to get our organization to where we want it to be, we have to keep learning. We have to keep working on ourselves. We have to first believe in ourselves. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't see the big picture for where you want to go, where you want your organization to go, nobody else will see it. People would run based on the energy that you carry. If your energy is low, people will follow you from behind who also have the same type of energy as you. If your energy and drive is high, that is the same, kind of energy that your followers will carry. Yeah, so I hope that was something like I was able to share one or two things with you all. And thank you so much for this opportunity, Shego. I really appreciate that you asked me to be a part of this.
I was just saying on the WhatsApp group right now that this is a very good learning opportunity for me. I'm not so sure I've listened to you for 1 hour stretch or 1.5 hour stretch before. And this is like the first time I'll have the opportunity to do that. I know we've been in some meetings, but they are actually usually just with a lot of other people. And this is mind blowing. And thank you for sharing so freely, so much of things that a lot of us really don't share out there, but are quite vital for people coming before us to know. It's a lot of information and a lot of things to ponder on. Throughout the period while you were speaking, I went on a self-reflection journey, just putting my life and my work beside all those principles as you were explaining them, and it's really transformative for me. And I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I want to believe they all had the same experience that I had. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you. I celebrate you for this. Thank you. And God, I just want to say a lot, but I don't want to take our time. But today validates one thing for me, that for people who share your values and for people whose values are really genuine, you can tell from afar by the kind of results that they produce. And I guess that's just one thing I've seen in Victoria. Before we probably started talking, I just knew that, I know her from afar, or I know her name, and I was like, okay, this person is definitely someone I can trust, and is someone I can definitely work with. And when I got to know her, it was exactly the same. And that means a lot to me. Not having two personalities, but having who the people think you are, and ensuring that it is the person that they meet is something that is scarce in this industry these days. And in fact, in the world that we live in, and Victoria has actually demonstrated that it is possible to maintain the same profile in terms of branding and who you are as a person. So
Thank you so much, Shego.
yes, this is a very great time, and thank you, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get off soon. I just want to encourage you all that when I look back at my life and all of those things that I was doing, all the network I was part of at the university, those days it just felt like, am I wasting my time? It felt like I was learning a lot, but I couldn't see the quick results. I want to encourage you to keep learning and learning and learning. It's all going to add up one day. A lot of things that I know, a lot of things that have been useful to me, they're not things that I learned in school. I barely remembered what we learned at law school. I barely remembered what I learned, my 5 years studying law. A lot of the things that I know right now are from things that I learned from having the opportunity to be part of a network such as this. So I really encourage you to take this seriously. The same way you want to feel disciplined and committed to something, commit to this. Some people have to pay for opportunities to be part of this. I'm not sure if this is paid, if you all have to pay to be part of it, but this is like really, really fantastic. The world, the future of work out there is fast changing. When you come before a recruiter and you want to work with, a Fortune 500 company, they're not going to be asking you what they taught you in your 4th year at school. They will be asking you the real life questions, real life scenarios. What have you learned from somebody that stood out for you? What did you, experience in your own life? And, what was real life experiences? That's what they would ask you. And that's what you can get from being part of platforms such as this. So I really do want to encourage you. I know this particular period is a little overwhelming, just finding that motivation to come online and to stay online on the discussion for an hour. It can be tiring, but just don't give up. Everything adds up. Trust me, 2, 3, 4 years from now, that's even too much. Even 6 months from now, you'll be looking back and be grateful that you're part of a platform like this. So just encouraging you, just hold on, appreciate whatever you're getting right now, and don't forget to appreciate the little things. What you're getting from a platform like this is a lot, so don't take it for granted. Feel grateful for it. That might be something that you find useful in your job, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, or something that will be useful to help you scale your business in few months to come. Thank you, everybody. I feel so honored that I had the chance to do this today. Sometimes I talk and I feel like I'm everywhere. I don't even know if I made sense today, but I thank you for listening to me, and I wish you all the best with everything that you do. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Shagun. So I'll catch up with you later, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we celebrate you. I'm full of excitement, and there's just so many things I want to say. 2 weeks ago we had Sipasi.
Oh, awesome! Sipasi is amazing.
And last week we had former Minister of Environment in Denmark.
Wow, oh my God. You guys I want to be part of this network now. That's amazing. That is super, super amazing. Wow, this is great.
And everything you said today just reaffirmed and really drove almost all the points that they made.